Hello everybody, today I'll be showing you the difference between feeding with frozen and live mice. What's the difference? What's the benefits? My personal opinion. I'll also be showing you how to feed your snake frozen and live mice. Now to start this off, I'd like to say both of my snakes will eat frozen or live mice, but currently I'm feeding them both live mice. But for the sake of this video, I'll be feeding my normal ball python the live mice, and I'll be feeding my banana ball python the frozen. First, before feeding your snake, you're gonna wanna know what size mouse are you gonna be feeding your snake. My first method finding this out would be to measure the largest part of the snake's body and then match the same size to the mouse. If they're the same size, then it'll be perfect, but I also would go a little bit bigger if possible, but if not, that's perfectly fine. It could be the same at least or a little bit bigger. The second way is to scale. Weigh your snake, and 7 to 10% of the snake's body weight should be the weight of the mouse. So if your snake is 51 to 90 grams, you're going to want to feed the mice that weigh roughly 7 to 9 grams. So here's going to be the mouse that I'll be feeding my ball python Echo. I like feeding them live mice because it's natural, it's easier, it's fresher than a frozen mouse, and it also gives them the opportunity to prevent boredom. And as you can see peeking out, he loves live mice. Before the video goes on, I want to let you know the next part of this video will show a mice being consumed by a snake. So if you do not do well with stuff like this, I'd advise you to click off this video, please and thank you. Now with live mice, you want to be cautious because live mice will bite your snake and could do harm to it. So what I personally do, which you will see right now, is I grab the head of the mouse, but also watch out because the mice can bite you as well. But grabbing the head of the mouse will prevent him from being able to hurt your snake, and I just hold the head away from the snake until the mice stops fighting, and then I'll let the snake rest on the ground with the mouse. See right here, the mouse is trying to sink its teeth into something to resist being eaten, of course, and it may be a little sad, but it's better than it harming your snake. I'm not sure exactly why my snakes do this, but after dealing with the mouse, they'll look around, which I'm assuming it's to look out for any possible predators from stealing or disturbing the snake's food. Now, when a snake is a baby, they usually don't know that it's easier to eat mice from the head down, and they'll eat them from the bottom up. But they usually figure it out the third or second time that they eat. But for sure, just give them time to adjust. He's currently just trying to feel the mouse out and then try to get to the head of the mouse. If your snake releases the mouse, it's fine. Don't try to pick up the mouse and refeed it. I used to have this issue feeding Echo, so I would assume he lost interest or he didn't want to eat, but in reality, he's most likely either just on the lookout again, or he's trying to find the head of the mouse to make it easier to eat. And this behavior could be the same with live and frozen mice. My banana ball python does the exact same thing with frozen mice and live mice, so this is a very common thing with snakes. Don't be worried if the snake grabs some of his bedding up with the mouse. It's pretty common and it doesn't hurt the snake. But after they are eating, inspect the snake's mouth, and if they have anything left over, I personally just try to get it out of the snake's mouth just for peace of mind. If you're wondering my thoughts on having a separate tank for feeding, I think it's a good idea just because the snake is more likely to assume that you're feeding them when you reach to grab them, and you will be more at a risk of being bitten. But others will say it's not likely, but I think it's just better to be safe than sorry. Me personally, I feed them in their normal enclosures just because they both bite me regardless, just from their previous owners not being so good at taking care of them. But I've been bit millions of times and it doesn't bother me, so in my case it's pretty pointless to have a separate feeding tank. For frozen mice, I personally take the frozen mouse and throw it in super hot water, but you can also dethaw by putting the mouse in a bag and then putting it in hot water. But the snake does get a source of water this way, but bedding will most likely stick to the mouse, and like I said, it really doesn't harm the snake to accidentally eat some bedding. So once thawed, just grab the mouse out of the water and you could gently pat the water off them or just have it soaked. My snake doesn't mind either way. Just watch out for the temperature of the water so it's not too hot for the snake to consume it. Snakes have a better chance of eating at night, but I know my snake will figure out it's a mouse and have no issue waking up. When feeding frozen, try to replicate mouse movement. If you're not a fan of getting bit, you could get tongs instead of hand feeding. I personally don't feed my snakes frozen just because I like to keep their living style as natural to what they're used to in the wild. After feeding them, don't handle them for the next 24 to 48 hours. I personally think it's fine after 24 hours. It's mostly just to let them digest their food properly. And thank you to anybody who watched the video all the way to the end. This is the end of the video, so if you enjoyed it, I ask you to like and subscribe. Please and thank you. See ya.